The boxing world is buzzing with anticipation for the September 2025 showdown between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, a fight that promises to be one of the most compelling in recent memory. This matchup, set to take place at super middleweight, pits two of the sport's biggest names against each other in a clash that transcends weight classes, styles, and legacies. It's a fight that has sparked debates among fans, analysts, and fighters alike, with opinions split on whether Crawford's brilliance can overcome Canelo's physicality and experience at 168 pounds. The stakes are high, the narratives are rich, and the build-up has already taken on a life of its own. Canelo Alvarez, the face of boxing for over a decade, has built a career on defying expectations. From his early days as a fiery red-headed prospect to his current status as a four-division world champion, he's faced every type of fighter, power punchers, slick boxers, and everything in between. His resume reads like a history of modern boxing: Floyd Mayweather, Gennady Golovkin, Miguel Cotto, Daniel Jacobs, and Dimitri Bivol, among others. At 35, Canelo has seen it all, and his durability, ring IQ, and devastating body attack have made him a nightmare for opponents. Yet, in recent years, some have noticed a shift. His performances against Jermall Charlo and Jamie Munguia, while dominant, lacked the ruthless spark of his prime. Critics, including longtime promoter Bob Arum, have suggested Canelo has become more of a businessman in the ring, prioritizing safe victories and big paychecks over the all-out wars that defined his earlier career. This perception has fueled speculation about whether the Canelo of 2025 is as invincible as the one who stopped Sergey Kovalev or outclassed Billy Joe Saunders. Enter Terence Crawford, the undefeated pound-for-pound king who has made a career out of proving doubters wrong. Crawford, 37, has conquered three weight classes, 135, 140, and 147 pounds, becoming undisputed champion in two of them. His last fight, a tougher-than-expected decision win over Israil Madrimov at 154 pounds in August 2024, showed both his resilience and his ability to adapt. Now, he's making a staggering leap to 168 pounds to face Canelo, skipping an entire weight class and bypassing the likes of middleweight contenders. Crawford's confidence is unshakable, rooted in a track record of dismantling opponents with surgical precision. His style, built on switch hitting, elite timing, and an ability to exploit any mistake, has left a trail of broken fighters in his wake. From Sean Porter to Errol Spence Jr., Crawford has consistently found a way to impose his will, no matter the odds. The genesis of this fight lies in years of subtle jabs and growing tension. Canelo, for much of his career, dismissed Crawford as a viable opponent, citing the size difference. "He's too small," Canelo said in interviews, brushing off the idea of a fight as unrealistic. Crawford, never one to let a slight go unanswered, planted seeds of his own. Earlier this year, he tweeted, "Remember what you said about me," a cryptic but pointed response to Canelo's comments. That seed has since sprouted into something far more serious. During a recent live stream, Crawford stared into the camera and declared, "In September, I'm going to show the world what greatness looks like." The message was clear: this isn't a cash grab or a legacy fight for Crawford. It's personal. He's not coming to test himself against Canelo, he's coming to win. The size disparity is the elephant in the room. Crawford, a natural welterweight who only recently moved to 154, is jumping two full weight classes to face a man who has been a fixture at super middleweight for years. Canelo, at 5 feet 8 inches with a 70.5-inch reach, isn't the biggest 168-pounder, but his frame is perfectly suited for the division. He's fought light heavyweights like Kovalev and Bivol, absorbing their shots without flinching. Crawford, at 5 feet 8 inches with a slightly longer 74-inch reach, brings speed and skill, but the question looms: can he carry his power up to 168? Oscar de la Hoya, who knows both fighters well, weighed in on this point. "Crawford is very versatile," de la Hoya said. "He's not one-dimensional. He can move, he can box. But I don't know how hard he hits to keep Canelo away from him." De la Hoya's hesitation isn't about Crawford's talent, it's about physics. Canelo has knocked out fighters like Amir Khan and James Kirkland with single shots. If Crawford can't make Canelo respect his power, the fight could become a war of attrition, one that favors the naturally bigger man. Manny Pacquiao, a fighter who knows the challenges of moving up in weight better than most, offered advice to Crawford. "Focus on speed," Pacquiao said plainly. "When you move up in weight, your speed and power go." He needs to focus on that. Pacquiao's own career, spanning 8 weight classes, gives his words weight. He understands that skill and discipline can sometimes overcome size, but only if the smaller fighter stays sharp and avoids getting caught. Crawford's game plan will likely hinge on this. His style isn't built on brute force but on angles, timing, and control. He's a master of setting traps, luring opponents into mistakes, and capitalizing with precise counters. Against Canelo, he'll need to be faster, sharper, and more alert than ever. The question is whether his speed can outmaneuver Canelo's relentless pressure and body attack over 12 rounds. Not everyone is convinced Crawford can pull it off. Former WBA super middleweight champion George Groves, who fought at 168 himself, is skeptical. "I can't see how Canelo doesn't win," Groves said. "He's had a lot of fights, but there aren't too many miles on the clock. His body is built for this division now." Groves acknowledges Crawford's brilliance, his balance, his versatility, his arsenal of shots, but sees the weight jump as a bridge too far. "Crawford's an amazing fighter, but I can't see him putting a physical dent in Canelo," he added. This view is echoed by many in the sport who admire Crawford but believe the laws of physics will prevail. Canelo's chin, widely regarded as one of the best in boxing, has never been seriously tested. He's never been dropped, rarely even hurt. For Crawford to win, he'll need to find a way to disrupt Canelo's rhythm without relying on raw power. Yet, there's a growing contingent that believes Crawford's intangibles, his ring IQ, his adaptability, his sheer will, could make the impossible possible. Trainer Stephen Edwards, who has seen legends rise and fall, offered a compelling perspective. "Anybody can be hurt," Edwards said. "Some of the best chins I've ever seen have been clipped: Holyfield, Duran. Anybody can be clipped." Edwards isn't talking about knockouts, he's talking about vulnerability. Crawford doesn't need to floor Canelo to win. He needs to create moments where a perfectly placed shot buzzes Canelo, breaks his rhythm, or forces him to hesitate. Crawford's fights are chess matches, not slugfests. He's never been a headhunter, but his ability to land clean, unexpected punches has dismantled every opponent he's faced. The build-up to this fight has also taken on a cultural dimension. Some fans, particularly on social media, have framed it as a clash that could spark tension between black and Mexican boxing communities. Crawford, an African-American fighter from Omaha, Nebraska, carries the hopes of fans who see him as the ultimate underdog. Canelo, Mexico's biggest sports icon, represents a proud boxing tradition that has produced legends like Julio Cesar Chavez and Juan Manuel Marquez. The narrative of a race war is exaggerated, but it underscores the passion this fight is igniting. For Crawford supporters, this is about proving that skill and heart can overcome any obstacle. For Canelo's fans, it's about their champion cementing his legacy as untouchable. Adding fuel to the fire is the presence of David Benavidez, the undefeated two-time WBC super middleweight champion who has been chasing Canelo for years. Benavidez, known as El Bandera Roja, is furious that Crawford, a former lightweight, has leapfrogged him for this opportunity. "If I'm such a bad fighter, why don't you come shut me up?" Benavidez said on the 4-Pound podcast with Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo. He's been vocal about Canelo's dismissal, particularly after Canelo called him a nobody with no notable accomplishments. Benavidez argues that a fight with him would be Canelo's biggest payday and a true test of his greatness. Instead, Canelo has chosen Crawford, a move many see as driven by Saudi Arabia's Riyadh season, which has reshaped boxing's landscape with massive financial backing. The Saudis prioritize spectacle over mandatory challengers, and Crawford's story, an undefeated genius jumping weight classes to challenge the king, fits their vision perfectly. Benavidez, despite his dominance, is left on the sidelines, his frustration palpable. The financial aspect can't be ignored. Richard Schaefer, a veteran promoter who worked on Mayweather vs. Canelo, calls this fight the biggest in the sport for as long as I can remember. Unlike Mayweather vs. Pacquiao, which came too late to capture both fighters at their peak, Canelo and Crawford are, in Schaefer's view, still in their prime. The fight isn't just about money, it's about supremacy. Crawford's last outing against Madrimov showed he's not invincible. Some even scored it for Madrimov, but Canelo is a different beast. "Canelo is no Madrimov," Schaefer said, pointing to Canelo's composure, defense, and suffocating body attack. Yet, Schaefer doesn't rule Crawford out. He acknowledges the danger of the weight jump but sees Crawford's skill as a potential equalizer. Bob Arum, who has promoted both fighters, questions Canelo's motivation. Canelo has shown in his last few fights that he's just a businessman, Arum said. He's not in there to entertain the public. He just takes the big check. Arum contrasts this with Crawford's hunger. Terence always fights, he said. He doesn't know anything else. The question, for Arum, is which Canelo shows up, the calculated veteran or the warrior who once traded shots with Golovkin without blinking. If it's the former, Crawford may find openings. If it's the latter, the size difference could become insurmountable. Crawford's 13-month layoff since his last fight is another factor. Ring rust is real, but Edwards dismisses it for Crawford. He's one of them guys who never looks rusty, he said. Crawford's preparation will be key. He's not just facing a bigger man. He's facing a fighter who has been training with heavy hitters like Bivol and Benavidez in mind. Canelo's team knows Crawford's speed and versatility are dangerous, but they also know their fighter's chin and experience give him an edge. For Crawford, it's about staying elusive, landing clean shots, and avoiding the kind of exchanges that favor Canelo's power. Sugar Ray Leonard, a 5-division champion who knows what it's like to defy the odds, offered a simple but profound take. There's always a way to win, Leonard said. He didn't downplay the size difference but emphasized that skill and belief can overcome it. Leonard's own career, beating the likes of Marvin Hagler and Thomas Hearns, proves it. Crawford is banking on that same principle. His confidence isn't bravado, it's built on a lifetime of solving puzzles in the ring. From his amateur days to his professional dominance, he's never lost, never backed down, never failed to find a way. The fight's outcome hinges on intangibles as much as tangibles. Can Crawford's speed and precision neutralize Canelo's power and pressure? Can Canelo's experience and durability withstand Crawford's relentless adaptability? Fans are split. Some see Crawford's genius as unstoppable, pointing to his ability to dominate fighters like Spence and Porter. Others, like Groves and Schaefer, see the weight gap as too much, especially against a chin like Canelo's. Social media is ablaze with predictions, from those who believe Crawford will cook Canelo with his tools to those who think Canelo will walk through him like he has so many others. As September approaches, the boxing world waits to see if Crawford can pull off what would be one of the greatest upsets in modern boxing history. For Canelo, it's a chance to prove he's still the king. For Crawford, it's a shot at immortality. The bell will ring, and the world will watch. One way or another, this fight will define both men's legacies.